Hello everybody, my name is the narrator and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reading two short stories from the website eastoftheweb.com. I will leave a link in the description, which I just copied so you know it is the right one. Alright, just so everyone knows on this channel, these videos are the first time I've ever read any of the books or short stories that I read. So I'm sorry if I mess up how something is pronounced, or if I have to reread a sentence every here and there. So, the first short story I will be reading today is The Ingenious Patriot by Ambrose Bierce. Alright. Having obtained an audience of the king, an ingenious patriot pulled a paper from his pocket, saying, "May it please your majesty, I have here a formula for constructing armor plating which no gun can pierce. If these plates are adopted in the Royal Navy, our warships will be invulnerable, and therefore invincible. Here also are reports of your majesty's ministers, attesting the value of the invention. I will part with my right in it for 1,000,000 tum-tums." Okay. After examining the papers, the king put them away and promised him an order on the Lord High Treasurer of the Extortion Department for 1,000,000 tum-tums. "And here," said the ingenious patriot, pulling another paper from another pocket, "are the working plans of a gun that I have invented, which will pierce that armor. Your Majesty's royal brother, the Emperor of Bang, is anxious to purchase it, but loyalty to your Majesty's throne and person constrains me to offer it first to your Majesty. The price is another 1,000,000 tum-tums." Having received the promise of another check, he thrust his hand into still another pocket, remarking, "The price of the irresistible gun would have been much greater, your Majesty, but for the fact that its missiles can be so effectively averted by my peculiar method of treating the armor plates with the new..." The king sighed to the great head factotum to approach. "Search this man," he said, "and report how many pockets he has." 43, sire," said the great head factotum, completing the scrutiny. "May it please your Majesty," cried the ingenious patriot in terror, "one of them contains tobacco." "Hold him up by the ankles and shake him," said the king. "Then give him a check for 42,000,000 tum-tums and put him to death. Let a decree issue declaring ingenuity a capital offense." Alright, so that is the first short story of the day. And the second is The Empire of the Parakeets, written by Fernando Sorrentino, translated by Gustavo Artiles and Alex Patterson. The nickname Parakeets is often given to those quite harmless, short-lived, tiny green Orthoptera that on summer nights keep flying round and round lights. Their movements do not appear to be governed by intelligent thought. Lacking the fly's sharp sight and rapid reactions, this nuisance is easily eliminated by crushing them between the thumb and index finger. In contrast to the mosquito, they are incapable of biting. Nevertheless, they are sheer torment for anyone trying to read or eat. They throw themselves blindly against your face or eyes. They drown in your soup, they smudge your writing. By the time you manage to brush aside the 5 or 6 parakeets walking on your fork, another 10 or 12 are ready in your ears or up your nose. So, before I continue, these are generally called gnats. I don't know anyone that calls gnats parakeets, but apparently that's what they are called. So, continuing. Why Why should these tiny green Orthoptera, the parakeets, be so stupid, so feeble-minded? Their behavior is perhaps the least sensible of any living thing. Those who believe that this behavior is common to call all insects are wrong. For instance, a man can establish, with a cockroach, a kind of relationship, if not friendly, then logical at least. The man will attempt to kill the cockroach, which will try to run away and hide. This is simply not possible with one of the parakeets. No one knows what they are doing or why they are doing it. But, asks Dr. Ludwig Boydus himself in one of his latest papers, is the parakeet's behavior really so mad? Let us start the premise that all living beings orientate their actions toward the preservation of their species. Why should the parakeet's behavior be an exemption to such sound, well-proven law? The modern researcher, he adds, must not limit himself to simple statements to the effect that the parakeet's actions are gratuitous, I think. Gratuitous, yeah, and senseless. He should make an effort to determine the true logic behind the apparently absurd illogical behavior of the parakeets. This behavior... Sorry about that. This behavior is merely an outward expression of an inner motivation, and it is time we found out what that might be. Dr. Boydus mentions two facts that have generally been ignored. Firstly, in recent times it has been observed that the parakeets fly less around lights than around people's heads, and secondly, their numbers are increasing. He points out that although the parakeets seem to lack even a minimal offensive or defensive weapon, 500 or 1,000 of them, by continuously harassing a man, entering his ears and eyes, walking on his neck, stopping him from thinking, reading, writing, or sleeping, can force him, in fact, do force him, into a state of complete mental derangement. In this state, it is the man, not the parakeet, who does not know what he is doing or why he is doing it. It is a state in which the man does not even know who he is, and when he enters it, when he loses consciousness of his own self, he inevitably becomes resigned to be surrounded and dominated by the parakeets. Furthermore, from that moment on, he can no longer live without the parakeets, without feeling them inside his ears, his eyes, his mouth. What has occurred is a phenomenon that, in the field of drug addiction, is known as dependency. And this, Boydus adds, is the true purpose of the parakeets, the underlying logic behind their apparently absurd and illogical behavior. The parakeets are inexorably expanding their empire. To date, they have taken over every civilized country. The more advanced a nation's technology, the stronger their hold. Wherever there is electric light, the parakeets reign supreme. On this point, a world atlas accompanying the article shows how few countries are still... Is there not any more of that? Are still... one second. Free of the empire of the parakeets. However, we believe that the inclusion of this map is a fallacy, that it is not a political empire. Parakeets rule only over minds. When these have been parakeetized, to use the neologism coined by Boydus, they go on to parakeetize the bodies, which consequently begin to perform essentially parakeetic actions. As Dr. Boydus concludes, at this point, only primitive communities and the poorest countries remain almost free of parakeets, countries untouched by the development of mass media. Okay, so that pretty much just said that these parakeets literally live to drive humans insane and take over the world. Alright, well, that is all the reading I have for you for today. Please come back tomorrow for another video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please leave a like and a subscription in the section below, and if you have any comments, any books you would like to read, or anything of that sort, please tell me in the comments section. I hope you have a nice day.